A devastating spell of bowling from Tim Murtagh and a hat-trick from Toby Rowland-Jones saw Middlesex ease to their second LV County Championship win of the season, defeating Derbyshire by 9 wickets to move clear at the top of the table. Yet at the start of day 3 it was Derbyshire who perhaps just had the edge. Middlesex resumed in their first innings on 180 for 6, and the first job of the morning at Lord's was for the overnight batsmen Gareth Berg and Ollie Rayner to try to get their side into the lead. They brought up the 200 in the first quarter of an hour of the day. Mark Turner brought an end to a good stand of 61 by trapping Rayner in front on 26. And he soon also removed Rowland-Jones, who was beaten for pace, to leave Middlesex on 211 for 8. The tail didn't wag for too long either. Murtagh middled his shot off John Clare but found Billy Godleman at mid-wicket. And England's night watchman Stephen Finn was LBW first ball. In an hour, Middlesex were all out for 215, so it was advantage Derbyshire, who led on first innings by 16 runs. But in no time at all, that slim advantage had been well and truly lost, thanks to the magnificent Murtagh. In his second over, he removed day 1's brick wall Godleman, although Murtagh himself seemed less certain about the leg before shout than his teammates. Murtagh then started his fourth over with a more convincing appeal, as Wes Durston was trapped right in front. On 7 for 2, Derbyshire now knew that they were in a game, although Wayne Madsen still looked confident as he swatted Finn over point for a 6. But that was as good as it got for the visitors to Lord's. Finn reacted immediately by having Madsen caught behind. But it was Murtagh who was on the top of his game, proving to be almost unplayable at times. Shivnarine Chanderpaul is not often beaten outside his off stump. Murtagh next removed Dan Redfern, nipping one back for his third LBW. And then, having bowled Chesney Hughes next ball, he had Clare well held by Rayner. Derbyshire had lost 3 wickets for no runs, slipping to 26 for 6, with Murtagh's spell of 12 overs eventually bringing in figures of 5 for 12. Derbyshire were in danger of being humbled, but Chanderpaul and Tom Pointman got their heads down and battled hard in the knowledge that Murtagh and Finn couldn't keep on bowling forever. They saw out 13 overs to at least bring a little more respectability to the total, as they took that to 57 for 6. Yet from there, Derbyshire lost their last 4 wickets in 2 overs, on 10 Point and Nick Finn behind, before Rowland-Jones came into his own in the next over with his hat-trick. It began with a wicket of Tony Palladino, who was caught at the wicket. Then, next ball, Tim Grunewald was superbly held low down by David Milan. And then this. Turner had his off-stump ripped out to send the Middlesex players into raptures. Rowland-Jones ended with figures of 3 for 4 from 6 overs, and his first ever hat-trick was his, the first in the championship since Palladino got one for Derbyshire last season. What an amazing effort it had been from a Middlesex side growing in confidence with every game. With Chanderpaul left on 18, Derbyshire were all out for just 60, their lowest ever total against Middlesex, who were left with just 77 runs to win. But just for a moment it appeared that the mayhem hadn't yet ended, as Sam Robson ended his run of 50s by being bowled by Palladino for a golden duck. But the rest was a bit of a canter. For the second match in succession, Middlesex had stood firm against their opponents, matching them hit for hit, before producing a session which dramatically turned the game in their favour in a flash. If the 10-wicket win over Nottinghamshire last week didn't have the other counties taking notice, then this performance certainly will have done. Chris Rogers and Joe Denley made light of their target, as Derbyshire perhaps expectedly lost their vigour as the runs started to be knocked off. In the end, in spite of conceding that slender first innings deficit, Middlesex raced home with some ease. It was left to Denley to smash the winning runs to end on a sprightly and unbeaten 44, with Rogers helping himself to 28. Derbyshire had every right to be shell-shocked. Only 5 hours earlier, it had been them who were on top, but that is how quickly this brilliant game can turn. The visitors will at least hope to learn from what must have been a humbling experience at the home of cricket. The margin of victory was 9 wickets, and that added 20 more points to the 23 Middlesex collected from their first game. They will perhaps be disappointed to be missing out on the next round of games. They don't play again until May the 2nd against London rivals Surrey at Lord's. Derbyshire have their first home game back in the top flight against local rivals Notts starting next Wednesday.